Good morning, everyone. Reva here with Quality Sewing and Vacuum, and today we're going to look at the difference between a walking foot and dual feed. What on earth is the difference? So I hear that a lot. Now, there are some machines that have what is called dual feed on them, and it's built into the machine. And a walking foot, we're going to put onto the machine as an accessory. So I'm going to start with a machine that has dual feed, and it's a FOF, and it's a lovely machine. FOF is the one that invented dual feed, and so they're the only ones that had it until the patent expired. And then other manufacturers now also have dual feed, like Janome and Bernina and things like that. So let's take a look at what dual feed is. So on this machine, and this is the Quilt Expression 710, really nice machine, and it has the built-in dual feed, and you'll see it right here. See that right there? And there's little teeth on the underside of this black piece that have it's actually a feed dog for the top. So as you sew, it's going to move in perfect time with your feed dogs that are down here. So it's going to give you that grip that you need. So I'm going to go in here, and I am going to pick just a straight stitch, which I forgot to go back to because I was playing earlier. So anyway, here's our basic straight stitch. So there's not going to be much for you to see from the front, but I'm going to go ahead and make a seam with the dual feed off, because as you see, this can come down and engage, and it can disengage. We're going to leave it disengaged right now because I want to show you something. So let me put my foot down and do a quick little stitch, and then I'm going to cut the thread with the thread cutter, and I want you to take a look at the seam. Now that seam is kind of nice, but you see it's kind of wibbly wobbly. Wait till you see the back. It's really wibbly wobbly, and that is typical with any machine that doesn't have a top feeding system. The reason why is when your fabric is on the machine, you have the bottom feed dogs that are pulling the fabric through. Well, it's really only pulling the bottom layer of fabric, and the top layer is being held back a bit by the foot, the friction of the foot and the pressure of the foot, so it doesn't as freely go through the machine. So that's where dual feed comes in really handy. So let's go to the opposite side of this fabric, and I'm going to do a seam right there, and I want to show you the difference. Okay, so we'll cut that thread. Now remember, our first one was wibbly, and the back was really wibbly. Oh, and by the way, you might be thinking, hey, mine looks like that, but I iron it out. That is true. You can iron this out with an iron, but when you launder it, it will come back. Okay, so now let's take a look at the one we just did. It's already flatter. You can even see, look at how wibbly that is, how much flatter that is. But look at the back. The back is flat. So if you love to do piecing and you cut all your pieces as a tiny little square, and they're all exactly the same, and then you stitch them and one is shorter than the other, and you're like, what on earth happened? Physics happened, and we don't like physics in sewing. Well, sewing is full of physics, but anyhow, it's because the top is not going through with the bottom, and you get the bottom gets a little bit puckery. And so that's what causes that. So dual feed's going to save you from that. Now the other thing I want to show you is let me slow my speed down here a little bit so it doesn't get away from me. I'm going to take it down just a smidge. Now I'm going to start sewing on this. I just want you to see how the dual feed really works. I'm going to stop right here, and let me put in a pair of jeans. So, whoops, let me find, where's the camera? Where are you going? There we go. I didn't know where to go. Okay, so here's a jean seam, but I don't know how many of you have ever had to hem a pair of jeans. So this is 3 layers of fabric. I got the denim here, the seam allowance, and the seam allowance from that one. So that's 3 layers of denim. Now it's 6 layers of denim, and now, as you know, a seam is crabby because it's 9 layers of denim. Okay, now we're going to go back over to the machine. What a good camera person we have. I tell you, even though I go crazy, they stay on top of it for me. Okay, so now I am going to start sewing this, and I want you to notice when you get to this section, this, as you probably know, is where you get horrible stitches, you get you get broken needles, all sorts of things. And here's why. Those bottom feed dogs are working down there, right? But our foot is now tipped, so it's not having even pressure on the fabric. So it's kind of like hitting a road bump, okay, a speed bump, and it just doesn't want to go over it. And don't try to rush the speed bump, because that won't help. However, with the dual feed, now it's like 4-wheel drive, and even if I go slow or if I go faster, it ups and overs without having teeny tiny little stitches. Then the last thing I want to show you about this is I have this really stretchy tricot, and we can go right onto the tricot, and the tricot doesn't bunch or anything because of the dual feed. So this is great. I made no adjustments in the stitch length, the stitch type, or anything. We'll go to the front camera because I think we're too close on that. But I made no difference from here to here to here in the stitching. It just, that dual feed really helps. Now, I do want to show you what happens if we sew on the tricot without dual feed. Oh my goodness. So let me get this over here, and I am going to disengage that dual feed. And if you've ever done like home deck, or heaven's sakes, even like a Halloween costume, this can get so puckery because it's so sheer and the fabric just gets mad. Isn't that horrible? Just awful. Okay. So now let's take a look at one more thing. I want to show you one more thing. If you're doing a quilt with a dual feed, I don't have the dual feed on right now, but I want to show you if you're stitching, and I'm going to turn it, I think it's going slow enough. I want you to kind of look, and maybe you can see that I'm getting a little bit of puddling. I'll show you where to look. Look in front of the foot, because no lights. You're going to see a little bit of puddling as I go, because it's kind of like it's a snow what is that called? Snowplow. So watch for that in here, because my fabric is all cut the same length, but I have batting in here. So can you see it's getting a little bit of a pucker but in front of it? Okay, it's because the pressure of the foot is causing it to have a bit of that puddle in front. So now let's do the same thing, and we're going to work with our, we're going to put the dual feed on. And this I just love, because I can do my stitch in the ditch, my quilting with my dual feed, and I'm happy as a clam. Also, the other thing that it works really well is if you're matching plaids, you're doing things like that, anything that you need to match, you also have less pinning, because it just goes together so much better. So anyway, so use that for your quilting as well. Okay, I'm going to shift this guy out of the way, because I'm going to bring over our next beautiful creature, which is this Baby Lock Allegro. I mean, love this opening right here. I mean, seriously, that is amazing. But we are going to talk about a walking foot. The dual feed that's on the Fuff, or on a Janome, or on a Bernina is built in, okay? So he's the way he is. And if you remember I think you can still see a little bit right where we are right now, that the little dual feed has that elbow there. And if I disengage it, it's still right here. Okay, so on a Fuff at this moment in time, you're not going to use a walking foot, because it's not even necessarily going to fit because of the dual feed that's on there. Okay? All right, now let's talk about a standard machine. This is the Baby Lock Allegro. It's really nice. It has this big space, but what's really cool is I touched a button. I just turned it. I wanted a buttonhole. Okay, so here's the standard ankle for this guy, right? So a walking foot, I have several different ones here to show you. A walking foot, he's upside down. Anyway, a walking foot has, this will be easier to see, is an accessory you put onto the machine that has a foot built in. Now, some walking feet are just the way they are, like this one. This is a Juki walking foot. This one obviously is a brother, an upside down brother, but it's okay. It's right side up if you flip him over. Anyway, but he has the foot built in. But you can also get some that have accessories with them. So like this one has 3 different soles and a quilting bar. So this will have a straight stitch needle plate. It has, not needle plate, a straight stitch sole. It has one that can do decorative stitching, and the third one, I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's really cool. You have to have the third one. I'm sure I could read it. Oh no, it's in a language I don't read. And then you have the quilting bar. So, oh, there's a better picture right there of all the pieces. Okay, and they're interchangeable feet. And to get the little soles on, they clip in. You don't have to use a screwdriver. Okay, so we're on a baby lock. So I got this really cool foot kit. This is the deluxe walking foot, and it has 3 soles. It also has a quilt bar for left side and for right side, because sometimes you have to go on the other side, right? So that's really helpful. And I love this little box. It clips open. Excuse me. And then in here, you have instructions, a do not eat packet, and then you have all your bits and pieces in here. So I want to put this on for you because I want you to see how it's done. Now, excuse me, let's look at the anatomy of the walking foot. So it has this bar right here. This is going to go over the needle screw. Oh, perfect shot. The needle screw is right here. So it's going to go around this right here. Okay, don't take your needle out. Just leave that on. It just will slide in there. And then it has these little, on this one it's gold. You can kind of see them. Those are going to be little feet that are going to come down, and they have grip to them, and they're going to work that top layer of fabric. Okay, all right, so I'm going to raise my presser foot. I'm going to find my little screwdriver, and I'm going to take this foot off. This is going to be the most time-consuming part of the whole thing, is taking the screw out. Don't take it all the way out, because that's really annoying, you know, to put it back in. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to slip this little claw up over the needle bar and slip. I'm going to raise my presser foot up enough to get him into, well, there I go. And then I've got him set, and he's ready to tighten that screw. Okay, so, oops, look what I did. I went too high. Let me get him back down onto the I got to go in between that. There we go. The needle bar needs to go in that claw, and then we'll just put him up there and tighten that screw right up. Righty tighty, lefty loosey, right, left. Okay. I told you the screw is going to be the hardest part, because it's remembering which direction to turn it. Okay, so you want to make sure always that your feet are on nice and secure and tight. Okay, so there that is. And now I can't reach it. And now I'm going to go ahead and slip my fabric under. Now you notice that you don't have, thank you, you don't have much clearance here, but you do have enough to slip your fabric in. Now, let me grab one of those light blue pieces of fabric that I had a minute ago, because I want you to see how this little guy works. So as we sew, it is going to, let me turn that speed way down because I want you to see the mechanism. These little feet things are going to move, because when the needle bar goes up, it raises up these little teeth. And then when the needle goes down, it puts them down. So it's doing kind of like a little hopping motion there. And that's what's going to feed the fabric. Can you see them going up and down? Let me slow it down a little bit. See how it's going up and moving that fabric. Okay, does that make sense? So it's supposed to do that, if you were wondering, but that will help you get through various types of fabric. It will help you keep things more flat. I mean, look at that. We don't have very many wobbles because we've got feeding from the top. So let's look at quilting. Let's do our quilting, and I've already put on the dual feed, so the pooling is the same. In fact, on this machine and a standard machine, I find that the pooling is greater. I'll do that. I'll take him back off here in a second, and we'll go in reverse order. But as I'm stitching this, I'll turn the speed. Well, I have it on a really short stitch length. I'm going to turn the stitch length up a little bit because I don't want to go that tiny. But as you see, as we go, I don't really have much pooling in the front of the foot. I am getting some, but not a huge amount, because this is helping on the top, right? So there's our quilting there. And then now let's just take that back off and see if I can figure out how to do the screwdriver the second time around, you know, that's always a help. Okay, and to get them off, I raise the foot up to the full, the presser foot, lift her up to extra height. He comes right off, and then we'll just put back on the regular foot, and we'll tighten that back up. And I want to show you how this pools on the batting without the walking foot. So we'll have it stitched. Now watch how it will start. It's already starting to puddle in the front. Can you see how it's making the puddles? Okay, and so that just makes a difference in your sewing. So now one thing to know when you are working with either a dual feed or with a walking foot is think about the type of batting you might be using. If you're not using a walking foot, you're gonna get those puddles, especially if you use a thicker batting. This is the Warm and Natural, so it's really thin. But if you're using a little bit more of a lofty or a poly batting, you're gonna have even more shifting because it can, those areas can shift. So I do recommend having either a dual feed or a walking foot, and if you have the opportunity to be able to have both on your machine, that is great. Some brands, that dual feed pops up into the machine a little bit higher, so it's out of the way, so you can actually use a dual feed as on that machine, as well as using a walking foot on that machine, as well as a dual feed. So look for that. Like, for example, a Bernina. The little dual feed will pop up inside a little bit more, and so then you can use a walking foot or the dual feed. In fact, if you have a 990, or any Bernina that is a 9mm wide machine, they have a new walking foot out now. It's called the 50W, and it will let you use 9mm wide stitches as well as a straight stitch. So anyway, I hope this helps demystify a walking foot, and I look forward to seeing you the next time.